Hey out there, it's Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with the new Sonic Boom vlog. This week's episode was Robots from the Sky Part 2. And as I just finished something that I've been working on for quite a long time, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a preview before it's posted up here. I finally finished that Death Egg robot! Yeah, check it out. 11 inches tall, full cockpit capability, articulated at the shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, and ankles. Also, I guess you can kind of count the fact that the head screws off as kind of a neck articulation. And you can screw the head off and put an Eggman in there. That's what makes it a vehicle and not just a giant figure. And yeah, been working on this thing since freaking February. I think I actually broke ground in it in January, but February I didn't really get to do much. But yeah, seriously, this takes a lot of custom fabricating. You'll see it when I make the proper video about it, but man, I am so happy to finally have this done. Alright, so the episode. This episode was basically one long action scene. Okay, spoilers, this isn't the end. This is just the middle part of what's probably going to be a trilogy of episodes. And, well, frankly, it's pretty epic. This is like the second part, which would be the rising action leading to the climax, which is going to happen in part 3. So, part 1 was the setup, part 2 is the rising action, and in next week's episode, we're going to get the climax and then the conclusion. So, that's assuming that it's a 3-parter, not a 4-parter or something. Alright, so the episode begins with everyone over Tails' body asking if he's okay. Tails is dazed, but it turns out he's alright because underneath his strap he had a little pocket copy of some famous sidekick's book about being satisfied with being second banana. So yeah, it's like kind of like a Bible for sidekicks. So it turns out that the one that shot him was actually the prototype Q-bots. It's actually made obvious when they hear that distinct Q-bot laugh coming from the bushes. So they go to fight all the Q-bots, and they try to figure out a way to defeat them without destroying them, because the Q-bots aren't evil per se. They don't just indiscriminately destroy everything. And it turns out they have a convenient self-destruct button on top of their heads, that when you push it, it causes them to break apart, but then you can easily put them back together. So they defeat all the Q-bots, and when they're analyzing them in the lab, Tails finds that they have the same malware that the ship did from the previous episode that Bolt and Myton had crashed. So before they can really understand what's going on, the village comes under attack. Although, first we get a scene with Dr. Eggman. He's taking a bath with Q-bot and Orbot attending him. But just as they're offering him reassuring words, all of a sudden their expressions go blank and they wander away, leaving Eggman to massage his bunions himself. That's when the village is attacked. Like I said, this episode is pretty much all action scenes, so everybody is fighting all the robots, but we do have moments, like when they asked the mailman delivery tortoise to make sure the Q-bots don't escape Tails' lab. When they bust the door down and wander away, says, "Not my problem," and rides away. Or when Soar the Eagle goes on and on about how some old lady is being pointlessly brutalized by these robots and nobody's helping them, and shame on society for not helping her. It reminded me of that Family Guy gag where Peter Griffin was playing at being a paparazzi, and when he saw Stewie hurt himself while filming him, Stewie was calling, "Daddy, Daddy, help me!" And he said, "I can't get involved because of journalism." They do say that as a journalist you have to remain an impartial observer, but, come on, don't be an asshole. Someone needs help, you freaking help them. So they're able to fend off the majority of the robots in the city, but we do get a lot of awesome cameos here, like that big blue bunny bot, and the flamethrower robot, the reverse fireman. All that stuff is all good. But then we get more incidents. Sonic and when Sonic and Tails realize that Cubot and Orbot, who are leading the charge, aren't acting under Dr. Eggman's orders, they realize that this malware has spread over pretty much any mechanical entity. Oh yes, and more comedy beats. We have a guy who says, my cousin lives 2 towns over. He never gets his town never gets attacked by malevolent forces like this. So this Dr. Egg. In 1993, when they gave the Sonic Saturday morning cartoon, Dr. Robotnik had already basically conquered the entire world. It was his. The Freedom Fighters were what was left of the Royal Guard and the Royal Family, i.e. the princess and her friends, who were mostly the Guard's children at the time, trying to lead a guerrilla war to take down his empire and reclaim what was once theirs. That was an Eggman who had already basically won the war, and it was up to the insurgents to take the world back. Now, we have a Dr. Eggman who keeps on attacking the same village over and over again, and his quest for world domination is still kind of stuck in this one town. So it's like, I'm going to take over this town. Once I take over this town, then I'll know I'll be able to take over the world. But first I gotta take this town. Alright, so Sonic and Tails leave Knuckles, Amy, and Sticks to fight off the robots in the village, while they go to Morris Town, the robot utopia, and investigate what's to see if they can get any information on the malware from Bolt and Myton. So they get in the plane and fly off. In the village, the scene actually keeps going on, but a friend bot arrives. First we had the Valley of the Cubots show up, and now we have friend bot. So it's like we're having a whole bunch of callbacks from earlier episodes. Remember how much I've been saying I love continuity? Well, we're getting more of it. So Bolt and Myton. While the city's being defended, Sonic and Tails are flying towards Morristown, but it's surrounded by flying sentry ships, the same kind of ship that Bolt and Myton were flying. And when Sonic and Tails get too close, 3 of them break off the formation and start attacking them. We get another cool action sequence where it's an aerial dogfight, where Tails manages to manipulate 2 of them into shooting each other down. Well, Tails manipulates one to shooting another down, which causes the robot pilot to eject and go back on a hover chair to the town. And then the second one, Sonic jumps out and spin attacks it, and the third one they lead into the canyon and force it to crash. That's when Sonic and Tails climb inside, and Sonic messes around with the passenger seat while Tails figures out how to fly the ship. When Tails figures out the controls, he flies up to Morristown, which triggers an automated docking sequence. He goes into the town, and as soon as they go into the front doors to see the robot utopia, they notice immediately that something's off, because there's nobody around. It's completely deserted. And it looks like there's debris on the ground. Something has happened to Morristown, possibly in Bolt and Myton's absence. And that's where the episode ends. The episode ends with Knuckles again crying, "What? Another to be continued? Aw, man." Which is funny because Knuckles wasn't even there, so he's just kind of speaking to us through the fourth wall. But yeah, I'm really interested. I mean, I was so excited to find out what's gonna be like up there. Like I was expecting to see, are the robots gonna freak out when they see organic life enter? Are they gonna start greeting them with open arms? Are they afraid that that they're bound by the 3 laws of robotics, where they have to obey orders given to them by the 3 laws of robotics are: a robot must obey the commands of a robot cannot harm a human or through an action allow a human to come to harm. A robot cannot disobey the orders of a human. unless that would violate the first law, and a robot must protect its own existence unless this violates the second or first laws. So I would imagine an artificially intelligent robot bound by the three laws might actually see some trepidation in encountering living people because he knows that he'd be able to do whatever he wants as long as he's by himself, but once he encounters a living person, like we can expand the definition of human to mean any living thing here in Sonic's world. And they might be, like, oh no, living things, we're gonna have to do what they say. If they give us orders, we're gonna be trapped. And like they don't want to be slaves, but they're programmed to be, and they wouldn't be able to help it. I was kind of wondering if we were gonna see that scenario. Like maybe the robots are afraid of living things because of that, which is why they live in an isolated society. Well, we're gonna have to find out next week, aren't we? Man, talk about a cliffhanger. This was probably a more effective cliffhanger than last week's. Can't wait to see next week's episode. So let's just get there.